Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk, your home for all your betting tips and expert analysis, not only for boxing but for a multitude of different sports such as football, basketball, horse racing, and many different events. So, yeah, if you're a big sports fan who likes the occasional bet, please make sure to check out the lads at sharpbetting.co.uk in the description below. It's me, Niall, just here giving a quick reaction to the news that Eddie Hearn has seemed to announce on his social media there not too long ago that a deal is in place for Murodjon Akhmadaliev, the former world champion, to challenge Naoya Inoue, the undisputed super bantamweight world champion, in September in what many people deem to be Inoue's biggest threat in the division and the biggest, well, it is the biggest fight left for Inoue at 122. Yeah, so they seem to be signed to square off in September. Looks like the date could be September 14th in Japan. Yeah, Eddie Hearn has announced it. It seemed to be a deal that was already looked like it was going to happen. Of course, it's interesting now we're only 3 days away from having a fight of his own against Ramon Cardenas in Las Vegas T-Mobile Arena. So yeah, it's think of it what you will. Is it disrespectful to Ramon Cardenas to announce such a big fight already when he hasn't even fought anyway yet? So he'll have big ideas to spoil the party. But if anyway is to get through on Sunday in Vegas, Akhmadaliev challenging anyway September 14th in Japan. The biggest fight at 122, and it'll surely be anyway's last fight at 122. Win, lose, or draw, you'd imagine, in that one. So, yeah, exciting news for the super bantamweight division. We're finally all things going well this weekend, gonna get it. Yeah, as I said at the start of the video, people, probably rightly think that this is the biggest test for Inoue at 122. Murodjon Akhmadaliev, former world champion, really, really good fighter, southpaw, really aggressive, quick hands, good feet, really well skilled technically and can punch hard, 10 knockouts and 13 wins. So they are kind of attributes that definitely could give Inoue a tough time. Absolutely. He already has beaten what a lot of people thought would be his biggest test in Stephen Fulton. At 122, he beat him convincingly. Fulton, of course, now a featherweight world champion, and a potential kind of path to another world title in another weight division for anyway. But that's getting way into the future. But in my opinion, you know, I might catch flack for this, but I've never thought Akhmadaliev would be a bigger test for anyway than Fulton. I could be proved to be really wrong here. As I say, he has really positive attributes. With his kind of boxing IQ, his ability, his aggression, being a southpaw, and being heavy-handed, really quick hands, but really big puncher as well. I just think Fulton with his kind of slickness off the back foot, that Philadelphia style, and his own hand speed, and good footwork would cause Inoue a lot more problems than it eventually did. Of course, Inoue stopping him like he does most people, but yeah, Akhmadaliev, once beaten, of course, they have a common opponent, Marlon Tapales. It probably would have been Inoue and Akhmadaliev sooner. If Tapales didn't kind of upset the odds there and beat Akhmadaliev. We've seen how Inoue dealt with Marlon Tapales, although Tapales did do better than people expected in that one. I know as well triangle theories don't work so in boxing, so just because Inoue beat the man who beat Akhmadaliev doesn't mean he's nailed on to beat Akhmadaliev. But yeah, very interesting fight. And it's refreshing now after kind of again, without the need of sounding disrespectful to Ramon Cardenas, he's had an underwhelming run. Anyway, over the last few fights, fighting the likes of Yi Jun Kim, Cardenas, even TJ Dehenny, not really his fault with Sam Goodman, pulling out of their fights, their supposed fights. So, yeah, it's good to see him that he will be back to facing the best in the division again in September. But I have to take it back to Ramon Cardenas. Anyway, likely wins. It's 95% certain that he wins this fight. And that's No shame on Ramon Cardenas on Sunday, but if you're Cardenas looking at this news today, again, 3 days out from the fight. That's what more motivation do you need than to spoil the party on a potential anyway Akhmadaliev fight in September. He's a huge underdog and rightly so, as most people are big against Inoue. But yeah, what more motivation do you need? You're getting totally overlooked. They've already signed for a mega fight in September when you haven't even had a crack at the champion yet. Yeah, himself. Motivation, and there's even less pressure now on Cardenas to kind of, nobody expects him to win anyway. He likely won't win, but to go in and just give it a go, leave it all out there, and my God, it would be one of the biggest upsets in, well, this century, to be honest. If he was to pull it off in Vegas on Sunday, it'd be a seismic shock. But yeah, anyway, should have enough to get past him, and then. Yeah, I suppose all that leaves is an early enough prediction for an Inoue Akmadaliev fight for the undisputed crown in September. I did touch on the fact that I thought Fulton would be the man to give Inoue the most problems just with that slick back foot style. Inoue, dealt with that with relative ease, and I think he's going to stop Akmadaliev. Um, I've never been of the opinion that Akhmadaliev would be the biggest threat anyway. Even Lewis Neary, with that kind of one shot power proved that can put him down. I just think Akhmadaliev won't bring anything that anyway hasn't seen before. As harsh as that may be to say, as I said, his positive attributes, that southpaw style, really quick, aggressive, in your face, big puncher, and can also really box himself. But as I say, I just don't think anyway has seen it all before. That's what that all comes down to. And I've always been of the opinion that anyway will be beaten when he steps up and weight even more against somebody really big and physically strong with very heavy hands that can put him back on his heels. And I don't think Akhmadaliev has those attributes to do that at 122. That being said, I think he will have success early while anyway kind of figures him out. But I think his aggression will walk him onto something huge. And anyway, I'll stop him in about 7 or 8 rounds. I might be underselling Akhmadaliev there, but it is good to see, the two best and the biggest threat left to anyway. And he's finally going to prove a lot of people, including Eddie Hearn, who's said a lot of ridiculous things about anyway ducking Akhmadaliev. So yeah, it'd be nice to see Eddie Hearn silenced as well. But yeah, business to take care of first for Naoya anyway on Sunday against Ramon Cardenas in Las Vegas. But Eddie Hearn has announced today it seems to be signed. Murodjon Akmadaliev, former world champion, facing the undisputed pound for pound king Naoya Inoue for all the marbles at 122 in September, likely to be September 14th in Japan. Yeah, very exciting news. Let us know what you think in the comments. What do you make of this news? Um, you know, does Akhmadaliev cause Inoue a lot more problems than I think he will? Can he even beat Inoue? Let us know what you think in the comments. And as always, don't forget, please drop a like on the video. We'd really appreciate it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at ESBR Boxing. Follow us on all social media. And of course, check out the lads at sharpbetting.co.uk in the description below. Until next time, take care.